Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Select Persons meeting for Tuesday, October 15th. We're in person and hybrid. Tonight's agenda is to call to order in the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll open with a public hearing on general assistance, ordinance, and appendices. We'll have recognition of visitors for items not on the agenda. Under reports, managers, financial, and departments. Communications will be senior tax assistant program, fire rescue trailer. Under new business, we'll have a CDC Christmas and Poland donation and Poland provision donations. We'll have a road naming, and we'll have some assessing business of supplemental and abatements and payables. And with that, if you could do the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I move that we open the public hearing at 7 o'clock.
My second?
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Marion Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
With a vote for 5-0, not 4, sorry. 5-0, you have opened the public hearing for general assistance at 7 p.m. So this is our annual increases that we see from the state that we have to vote on to adopt. We are affected by 3 of them. The first one is Appendix A, which is the maximum overall income a household can have based on the number of persons. It did increase slightly. And when I say slightly, I mean very marginally it increased, but it did increase. Appendix B increased the food, the amount allowed for food. So that's if somebody comes in and they're seeking assistance for food, that's how much we can help them with based on their number of people in their household if they qualify for general assistance. And Appendix C is an increase to the amount allowed for housing. And there's always 2 numbers. The first one is unheated, the second one is heated. So again, that would be the maximum we could assist someone with housing. The one thing we have to remember with that is it doesn't always go by what their actual housing that they're in is. So if they have 2 boys who are aged 11 and 13 and parents, we're gonna base it off from a 2-bedroom apartment. That's what we're told we have to use. They may have a 3 or 4 bedroom, but we can only base it off from 2-bedroom because they could fit into 2 bedrooms. So it doesn't matter what they actually have, it's based on what the state says they would need to live in. So those are the changes for Poland. Some people say, how do we make our own numbers? It goes through a long process of doing it. We have to vet it through the state. They have to look at it. They have to agree. We have to have some documentation that those are the numbers for the area and stuff like that. It's a lot of work, and it would only be good for a year, and then we have to do it again the following year. So by the time you get all the work done, you'd be changing it again. But the state maximums for income is, as you can see, if you have a family of 3, and your household brings in more than $1,232, you do not qualify for general assistance. Nobody can even pay their rent with that amount of money. So,
On the rent, we would pay whatever that dollar amount is, like I'm looking at let's see, but whatever the number is, $1,000. We would pay 1,000, or they have to pay some portion, we pay some portion?
it depends. So we first have to figure out if they're qualified by, does their income of the household fall under the maximum? If it does, then we have to look at what do they have for income, and that gets deducted from the maximum. So if they have $800 in income and the maximum is $1,200, they only get assistance for $400. And it can go towards numerous categories, portions of categories. So someone getting the full amount of that, most likely not. It's gonna be a portion thereof.
So when you look at the food allowance for 3 people, it's went from $766 to $768 is now the thing. So it went up $2 for the year difference.
Right.
Obviously, we know the price of food has gone up a lot more than that percentage.
Right.
But they have to actually, as a 3-person, so up at the thing, they've got to have an income of less than $1,232 to be able to even qualify to get that food money.
Correct.
I think there's a typo under appendix B. for
On what?
four-person. Under appendix B, four-person, the original amount says it was 8,973.
Yeah, it would have been probably 870, or 973 most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just what I come up with year to year, and I probably never deleted the 8. So that's
any
kind of how it
questions?
affects us here in Poland, and we just have to adopt it, and that's what we use for numbers for the year until next October.
Anybody else have any questions? Or-
I mean, the maximum income is that per household, so say you have a family, you know, maybe a single mother, but they have an adult child that's bringing in income, do they have to count that income?
Yep. Anybody over the age of 18 living in the house, even if they're not related.
So if you had a 16-year-old with income, that doesn't count?
As long as they're going to school full-time, it does not.
Any questions?
I have no other questions.
Nobody? And we can close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing at 7:05.
Second.
Thank you.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Marion Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
With a vote 5-0, you have closed the public hearing at 7:05 PM. And I just need someone to make a motion to accept the ordinance and dependencies as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Marion Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
With a vote 5-0, you have adopted the appendices for October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025.
Great, thanks. Stacy, are you here about the Christmas in Poland and that topic?
Yeah.
Okay, if the board is willing, we can move to that as our next item.
Yep.
Page 62.
Thank you. Do I need to bring this up? You guys find it?
Yes.
Thank you for your time. I'll just capture the Poland provisions real quick. It was a vote that we made already, but a quick update was $1,500 towards the tent for the October 6th fundraiser that was being hosted at Poland Provisions. Everyone donated their time, so they had Toby McAllister and several others that came and played under the tent. And to date, as of October 7th, they raised $9,436 for Make-A-Wish, and it's still going on for 2 more weeks, so I'm sure they'll reach well over 11,000, if I can bet, with the way that they are doing business there at Poland Provisions. So outstanding fundraiser. I don't know the numbers of the crowds, but I know that I was under the weather that day and had to drive to Hannaford to grab some medication, and it was packed. So outstanding fundraiser event right here in town for Make-A-Wish. So that was great. The other event that's coming up is the December 7th and 8th Christmas in Poland, which was a fantastic first year happening last year, which was a full week, and the committee is downsizing it just a tad to December 7th and 8th, but they have food trucks planned, well over 10 food trucks planned between the 2 days, and those are listed on the proposal, and as well as the Festival of Trees will happen again in the town hall, where local businesses decorate trees, and then people can join a raffle and win everything on the trees. And I think some of the trees were valued at like $250 last year. So great fundraiser again, but also the local area businesses donate the trees and decorate them, which is fun. And then just a fabulous 2 days of fun. The tree lighting is done, local musicians from our community play there, as well as the school has events happening all day long. One of them, which is people donate gifts, and local community from the tri-town can come in, kids can come in with escorts and they shop for their parents if they can't afford, or their families, which is at no cost to them. And they get to go and shop and pick out gifts for their families, which I love. There'll also be Project Graduation is with the help of the Sabbath Day Village, Sabbath Day Shaker Village. They are helping organize it, but there's over, I think, 48 vendors, if not more, will be in Poland Community School on the December 8th. And it's Makers Market, Farmers Market, Makers Market. So vendors, Maine-made local vendors, community vendors from all over Lewiston, Auburn, Oxford, Poland area will be in there selling their crafts and such. And what we are proposing to support is the safety for our community, so police service for 2 days, as well as, let's see, what do we have? Police services. They have a shuttle that they wish to rent for the 2 days to transport. They're not gonna do the big event of lights up over, I think it was at the golf course or somewhere. They're actually gonna do it in town. So this would be a trolley car or some kind of trolley train that's on wheels, that is licensed, certified, insured, that will can bring 18 passengers back and forth. So it'll shuttle up the road. We're hoping that local businesses will light up their businesses and their houses on this road, and they'll go back and forth from this area around the back of the town hall and back over to Poland Community School and give people rides back and forth. So that is another thing. They have a company fully insured and already approved to be able to put lights and wreaths on the poles that run from this area up the street. So, and that'll be on the poles for a month. So Poland will have a little bit of Christmas on the poles for the month, so that'll be kind of nice. And then DJ services at a reduced amount for the 2 days to help with some of the things that we're doing. So that's $4,882.50. Their overall budget for the events and the weekends, I think, is around $15,000. So they're doing other fundraisers to also support it. They're doing a masquerade ball somewhere, I don't remember the exact date, but that'll be coming out soon to raise funds. They have leftover funds from last year that they're rolling over. They're a very active committee and dedicated to provide something for Poland, but last year we well know that there was probably over 3,000 people going back and forth across these streets for a couple of days. So it brings in a lot of notoriety to Poland, and I know it was said during their presentation to us, people were asking, when is next year's event so I can put it on my calendar. So I expect a lot of traffic from not only in town but out of town. So that was their proposal to us. And that's our proposal to you to support this community event.
So this is money from CEDC.
This is money from CEDC funds, yeah.
And what did we give last year?
I believe last year was a lower amount. I would have to look back. I don't recall, but I think it was around $2,500 last year. So it is a bigger cost to us this year. They're doing a lot more in terms of bringing the things into town where they just did a walking path last year. People just drove up there, parked their cars and walked the Christmas lights. And this year, the added expense of an 18-passenger train shuttle is on there. And a lot more anticipated foot traffic, so they are adding a lot more safety across the streets, which we want to make sure everyone is covered with that. And lighting up the town is a new thing, which I think will be fabulous for Poland.
Sounds
So,
great.
yeah.
And you said the DJ lowered his?
That's
Yeah.
not Alex's true cost. He always offsets it for us, so
Okay.
it would be much more otherwise,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's 1,000 for both days?
I believe it's 1,000
Yeah, I
for
see
both
that,
days, yeah.
Saturday and Sunday, wow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
all day, both days, yep, yep. We're getting a deal,
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Other questions, comments?
Can we get a vote for each expenditure?
Sure. So we could have a motion for each of the 4 expenditures and then note the total, would be great.
Nope, one expenditure for that one, then one for the $1,500 invoice from Poland Provisions,
Yeah.
the second
Oh, okay.
donation.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the $1,000 expense for DJ Alex Royce for Saturday and Sunday.
I think we want to go for the total,
4,882.
Oh,
Okay.
Yep,
gotcha, okay.
up to.
So up to $4,882.50 to include all of the services indicated.
Second that?
John DeSantis,
Yes.
Stan Tetman,
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawk,
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
With a vote 5-0, you have approved an expenditure for up to $4,882 from CEDC to Christmas in Poland.
See, and we'll mark our calendars.
Back it on your calendar.
Definitely.
maybe the Poland Provisions one as well, please.
Sorry, what page is the Poland
Yeah.
Provisions one?
I saw that.
66.
So I make a motion to approve the reimbursement. This is requesting a reimbursement.
Oh,
to
is that what
Sheila?
it, I wasn't sure,
Or
it
what
might
is
be.
this?
I believe she paid out of pocket and then,
Yes.
yes, we're probably reimbursing her for hers, yes.
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve the reimbursement in the amount of,
1,500 is what CEDC approved.
okay, the 1,000, so 1,500 total?
Yep.
So $1,500 total to reimburse Poland Provisions for the 10.
A second.
Thank you.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
With a vote 5-0, you have approved a $1,500 expenditure from CEDC to Poland Provisions for the tent at their last event.
I'd just like to make a comment that for both of these things, these are things that bring in a lot of people into our community. And I think it's just the right thing to do to support the community and, you know, get people out here and enjoy themselves.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think the other aspect is that when you talk about those number of food trucks and you talk about all those other things, and also, and you talk about the businesses within the town and how that supports or whatever, it's also a great supporter of the businesses in the community.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I might
Stacy.
scoot out because I have 2 other board meetings this week.
Have fun.
I don't believe you.
Thank you,
Before we
Stacy.
get off this, I just wanted to mention a
Thank you,
couple of
Stacy.
things. Why were we voting on this tonight? It's a $1,500 expense and $48.20 for the Christmas in Poland, which is a great event. When the past couple of weeks, a few things came across my desk. One of them was a charitable request that we do every year, the annual one, and they asked, we still doing it in the same form, and I sent that to them. Then we got the CEDC request for Christmas in Poland, and then followed up with the request for Poland Provisions, all things that they should normally be able to approve. As I started looking at it, a couple of things struck me. One, that I don't think we're being as transparent with money as we'd want to be. These are great things. Christmas in Poland in particular is a fantastic event, and coming to a select board meeting and say, hey, we're gonna support this event with this amount of financial support is a good thing, because then everybody understands where the money's going, what it's being used for, and the event gets publicized even more. The other thing that's going on is we have like a 2-tier donation system. We have the charitable requests, which people come in, they fill out a form, come to select board meeting, it's on camera, they say, would like money to do this. It gets approved, it's in our budget by line item, and there's a total amount of charitable contributions that are in the budget, so folks can look at it and see, hey, this is what we're spending. The other committees are giving out money to do various things, and good things, but we don't have any visibility on that outside of the minutes of their meeting. So I thought, okay, how can we how can we fix that? So I'm not picking on CEDC, the folks at Conservation did a great thing. They donated some money to help build trails behind the high school, that the high school folks are gonna do. And, you know, that's a good thing. But my thought is, I don't want to be the one signing the check without having some visibility on what we're doing with these funds. And what I think we could do is just modify our governance policy slightly to reflect that, and basically say, hey, if you're gonna spend anything more than $1,000, come to the select board and tell us about it, even if it's in your budget. And if you're gonna donate money to a particular cause of any amount, come to the board and tell us what you're gonna do. Because it does a couple things. One, it ensures that we're being as transparent as we can be, but I think more importantly, it allows these groups, particularly groups that may only get a smaller amount of a donation, a chance to get more visibility. People see what they're doing, hear about their activity, and that might be some good publicity for them. And the other thing that I realized in reading the governance policy is that we're not following it because we're supposed to, any expenses are supposed to come before the select board if you don't have a budget. And so that's the other reason that I asked, hey, can you guys come and do that? And CDC and Conservation are both working up one for next year. It's not a big deal. They don't have a lot of expenses, but I thought this would be a good way to perhaps craft that policy so we have better transparency, and folks can't say that I didn't know you were giving money to these people. Hey, we're giving money to these folks. Here's why. It was done at a select board meeting. It's on the agenda, and you know, people have a chance to comment on that.
And there's a third reason.
Okay,
When people hear your transparency and they have money in their pockets,
exactly.
they might give it to you.
Yeah, and that's another good thing that could happen. And what I would ask that if the board's interested, we could set a date for a public hearing on an update to the governance policy. And Nikki and I are pencil whipping couple of sentences of additional language we could do at our next meeting on November 19th. November 19th. It's a long way away. So if that's okay, we can.
Yeah, so with that, I'd entertain a motion for a public hearing at 7 o'clock on November 19th.
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Marianne Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
With a vote 5-0, you have agreed to a public hearing for the governance policy for November 19th at 7 p.m.
So I think that's great. I know that, you know, at the conservation thing, was not at the meeting last week or whatever, but, you know, when we talked about the bench for Fred Huntress and whatever, we were doing it from the town, but we also had that, kind of brought that out, and I do think a dollar amount is appropriate, you know.
Yeah, I think people
Each
are
of-
interested
each
in
of the,
those things.
You know, CEDC, they each have money within the budget in doing the things, and they kind of control, but I think a dollar amount that it gets escalated and supported.
Yeah.
Either that, or it needs to be part of the package of, you know, our payables or something that, you know, put it in there as a line item in the payables to say.
Well,
that-
it's in the payables because I have to write the
Exactly.
check. But I think having it talked about at the meeting, and it doesn't have to take long, it is a good thing for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's raised and appropriated by taxation, these funds, so I think it's only fair to our taxpayers to give them the opportunity if they wanted to come to a meeting and speak for it or against it if they choose to. We're giving them that opportunity if we make everybody come here for donations, because then they can have a say if they want.
This is also an accountability thing on our part and who's ever requesting. Yep. Okay.
Okay, great. Nothing else, we can fall back to page 12, which is the manager's report.
Manager report for 15 October, on Heritage Day, I gave some welcoming remarks, which I think were the highlight of the day.
I'm sure they will.
That's where everybody came.
That's what I heard.
Me dancing was the highlight. You missed that one, you left too early.
Yeah. attended the MMA convention on October 2nd and 3rd. Old Castle donated 80 pallets of topsoil. Some's going to be used for municipal projects. The rest is available to residents to use and will be located at the transfer station. These are in plastic bags, so if you've got a small garden project, you want to grab some, go up there and Marvin will show you where they are. Those are going to be delivered by Old Castle tomorrow, very early in the morning. And we thank them for that. That's a very generous donation. One Public Works employee is resigning to pursue an opportunity in a family-owned business. He's been a great, really stellar worker down there. We're sorry to lose him, but it's a good move for him. And just a reminder, there's no select board meeting November 5th. And pending questions, that's the manager report.
Sam, also on the 5th, the front office is closed,
Yes,
but the other departments are open.
everything else is open, just the customer service desk.
So anything you want to highlight about the MMA convention itself?
I'm not a convention guy. I think that's what I want to, wonderful, it was well organized. And the reason I went this year, I haven't gone, I think I've gone once or twice before, but since I'm on the executive committee, they like you to go.
Twist your arm, yeah.
Courage.
But for me, the best thing about those conventions is the contacts you make and the relationships that you can improve. And, I had a chance to talk to a couple of folks locally. Jeff Harmon from Auburn, who's the mayor there, got a chance to hear his perspective on some county issues, which was helpful. And get my feet wet with the executive committee.
Thanks. Can we move on to financials, please?
Okay, we're 28.85% through the year. Just to point out one thing on motor vehicle excise, we're slightly above on there at 33.68, so that's a good indicator early in the year. I'm going to brief off the expense summary. General, we're at 61.26. Why? Because we paid the county bill in full. That's what drives that thing up. The community services is at 48.39, but that's high because we have transferred the full amount to the town library, and that's at 100%. And you'll see beach maintenance at almost 70%, but we do all that beach maintenance in the summer, so that's a good thing. We want to spend that money on the beach there. Public Works, they're well below the glide slope. Public safety is a little bit high, but the reason it's high is because of the timing of our law enforcement contract payment. The financial services is high, primarily due to transferring money to the TIFs and our payments to RSU 16. But other than that, there are no issues that I wanted to bring up with our finances, and if any questions, that's a financial report.
With the library, did we always give it as one lump sum? For some reason, I thought we did it like quarterly or something.
No, I think we do it.
It doesn't really matter, it's all in the same cash account,
Yeah,
so it's
okay.
just on the books.
I just, for some reason, I don't remember it all at once. And while, even though it's not directly related to this, and I should have asked you in your manager's report, I'm just wondering, has there been anything yet on the library grant, or that's still floating around in whatever Congress is on?
It's still in the appropriations bill. Just so folks know, we're talking about a $750,000 congressional directed spending that Senator Collins and Senator King have ensured are in the appropriations bill. Very grateful for their support, especially Senator Collins, who's really driving this. She's the ranking member on the appropriations committee, so it's a great thing for the state of Maine to have her there. We'll see what happens with that. I feel very optimistic that we're going to get those funds, and just got to sit tight and let the federal budget process unfold.
I'll entertain a motion for financials, please.
Move that we accept the financial reports as presented.
Second?
Thank you.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Alby.
Yes.
With a vote of 5-0, you have accepted the financial reports as presented.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to make one comment to the people. So the solar array at Public Works has been $30,946 thus far. This calendar year.
Calendar year, yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually gonna be cumulative since inception. So
Okay.
we started getting money for that early in the year. We're just gonna keep adding to that going forward, because we wanna show people how much money we have saved in
Absolutely.
total. And when it comes to the, I forget, it's 5 or 6 years, when we have the opportunity to purchase the array, then we say, look, this is how much we saved, this is how much the buyout is, and people can make a more informed decision.
Yeah, I just wanted to make note of it. I mean, it's in the package and doing things and people can view, but I just wanted to make note that we're just under 31,000 year to date. And then the solar farm that is off Lewiston Junction Road is $3,500 and change to date.
Will that one be cumulative too, or that will go in a calendar year or?
I think we're gonna do calendar year on that, because that's just, we're not buying anything at the end of that, it's just to show how much savings we got. And I think it's easier for people to grasp that, hey, we saved $3,500 over the course of the fiscal year, and that offsets our electricity costs a little bit.
All right, let's move on to the senior department reports, please. Any comments or questions on any of the department reports?
Now, pretty straightforward there. Pardon me?
Just mentioned that when I was in the other day, to pay the rest of my taxes and to pick up an absentee ballot, they were busy over there. And a lot of people, I guess, Nikki mentioned it's up to about 800 absentee ballots so far have been taken out. So, and if you get them and you want to return them, I was told they should be, they'd appreciate it if you put them in the box instead of bringing them in, because it takes them some time to process that.
The box is full.
No, it's emptied a couple of times a day.
Yes.
It's full right now.
It is?
No,
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Something must be jammed in there.
I'll look.
Yeah.
Fire rescue continues to be total incidences are strong.
On the Public Works, it mentions that the Heritage Day was September 28th. Fortunately, I wasn't feeling well, I didn't get up, but I did hear from Cindy today at another meeting that I had with her, that I think there were like 1,500 people up there, and they had a really good response. They had a beautiful day for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Again, it's one of those things that brings people into our community, provides something for our people in the community to do as a family gathering. It's really important.
Any other comments or questions on any of the department reports? If not, we will move on to the Senior Tax Assistance Program on page 60.
You get that, Nikki?
Yep. So this fiscal year, we had 60 applications for our senior tax assistance program. Of those, 42 were approved for a total rebate of $15,000. Checks were mailed on September 20, 2024 with a letter to them. The total rebate was reduced from $16,610. As our ordinance states, we can only use what is in the fund to give rebates, and we had $15,000 in the fund. This means that applicants received 90.3% of the return the ordinance entitled them to. I would suggest to the board that during budget season, we increase the fund to $25,000 next year. The 3 previous years, we didn't go over $6,000 in rebates, so we assumed that $15,000 would have covered any new applications that were approved, but it did not. So something that will come before you again during budget season is the request to up that number for next year.
Do we know if it's because more people are eligible and they're coming in, or that more people have heard about the program in that coming in? Do we know the reason?
Yeah, I think it's because more people were concerned about paying their taxes this year, and when they came to us with those questions, we advocated for them to fill out the senior tax assistance form to see if they qualified. And you qualified by having qualified for the property tax fairness credit for Maine state income taxes. We get a letter from them stating what the person received back from that, and then we do 50% of that is the refund, unless we have to reduce it like we did this year. So of the 42, the 18 that weren't approved, it's because the Maine Revenue Service came back with either they got 0 back or they did not file income taxes with Maine state revenue.
So the 25,000, where does that number come from for an increase?
That's an unassigned fund balance.
Okay. And that is calculated by individual?
No, that's an
Applicants or-
estimate to increase the funds available to fund that program. And
Okay,
that number rolls over from year to year, so you
Okay.
can plus it up. But, you know, we have 15 grand in there, it wasn't enough this year. Well, we want to help these folks. If we put a little bit more in the fund that, and we advertise it more, maybe we can help some people, at least will meet the demand that we've seen.
So then if it's not, the 25,000 is not consumed, then I think the next year you just simply replace the number that was consumed
Correct.
To get back up to 25?
to
Correct.
get it back up to 25.
Exactly, and it's voted on by a separate article by the townspeople at the town meeting.
okay.
So they get the choice whether to allocate that money or not
Okay.
separately.
Do we have any idea how many communities in the state have this type of program? Because we had a question from somebody mentioning the town of Wyndham, and we got back to them and said, you know, we have this program, they weren't aware of it. Do we have any idea how many communities there are?
I don't think there's no database that tells you that. I think many do. I would say it's not everybody, but I think many do. They're,
It's
you
not
know, we're the
required.
oldest. No, it's not
that we have
required. We're the oldest state in the union, and, you know, folks realize that some of our older residents are struggling, and so many towns in Maine are trying to do something in addition to what the state does to help them with taxes.
So one more question, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just curious if you have, I know this might be difficult to share on the spot, but in relation to the increases that seniors saw, how much of this rebate helped with that? Did it pretty much cover any increases in taxes they might have experienced, or a portion of it? Is there any way to know?
It varies from person to person because it all goes based
Yeah.
on their income tax that they filed with the state.
Yeah, but
So
Mm.
it's a
It's,
variance.
it's not a huge amount for each person. It's,
Yeah, I
Right, we did
had a
40 we did
senior
42 and
approach me
15,000,
and
yeah, so it's-
said they got like $113, and for them, that was they were offended by that. They were not happy, because it just seemed like such a small amount in comparison to, I don't think she has really any income.
Mm.
You know, disabled, elderly.
Yeah, like I said, it's based on their income tax reform that they fill out with the Maine State Revenue Service. We do not see those. We only get from the Maine State Revenue Service what their property tax fairness credit was to them, and they have a special way that they do that. It's 30% of your income taxes minus your income and stuff like that, and that's what you get back, and our ordinance says that we will give half of that back. So if she received 100 from us, she would have received 200 from the state on that. But
And do we get to dictate those terms, so we
it
came
has
up
to go to
with the
town
rules?
meeting. It was approved by town meeting,
I see.
the ordinance.
I'm
Do-
all for increasing that fund, because I think that it's important and our seniors need help, especially with the tax increases that they've seen and losing this Tax Stabilization Act going away.
So is this really
I'm
gonna,
just wondering if that 25,000 is enough.
yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean,
We don't know.
Yeah.
We're taking a shot in the dark.
Okay.
Applications typically have been right around 16 that we received. This year we received 60, so it was a huge increase in applications. I don't know if we will see an increase that big next year from the applications we received
But it's
this year.
48 that ultimately qualified.
42, yep.
42, excuse me, so we spent 15,000 and we only gave 90.3% of what we could have.
Right.
So that's, at the 15,000 paid out, we're saying, as she put on the form, it's $16,610 is what we could have paid out based upon being the 50% of what the state did. And that was against the 42 applicants.
So it wasn't
So
that
now we're gonna
far
put 25, now we're gonna put 25 in, so yeah, we
Yeah,
only,
okay.
of the ones approved, we only cut it down by 10%. But it's not a big number anywhere
No,
around, but it's
yeah.
not a big number coming out of the
If we
state
wanted
and
to
how it's
change,
calculated.
like say we wanted to match the credit that they get back, then that would have to go to town meeting.
It would have
increase
to go to
that.
town meeting, it would have to be approved on an ordinance change, and then more money would have to go from our unassigned fund balance to that if the townspeople voted on it. So it's a two-step process to do that. They would have to approve the ordinance first of all, the change in that, but then they would have to also authorize the money to go into that fund. And when you start saying taking money out of what we have over here to put here, some people are like, well, oh, you know, so.
So if we would have done that this year, under your suggestion, Mary Ann, that would have been $32,200, $32,200, or $33,200,
Right.
that we would have put in that fund instead of
Would
50.
have had the potential to pay out,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
So in understanding, it's also part of what their income is in their tax return. So if you add more money to it, if the tax return dictates that, then are they really gonna get any more money?
Only if you change the ordinance to
Right.
say that you matched a bigger percentage.
Right, like,
And
okay.
most of the ordinances that do this, it is half of the property tax fairness credit for most other municipalities.
Yep, and the resident who emailed us about Wyndham, I think Wyndham was doing like a flat amount. I don't know if that was true, it's like $700.
I don't think that's correct,
We looked into it.
because
Yeah,
we
we did.
called and talked to them. But that's Wyndham, they're free to do whatever they want. I think, the other thing to remember is, you know, when you're giving tax relief to this person, somebody else picks up the slack. And, you know, I think we just have to temper how much we do.
Anything else on that topic? Fire rescue trailer on page 61, please.
Yeah, the Fire Rescue Benevolent Association is gonna purchase a trailer that can house all of their barbecue equipment and use that for fundraisers. They've spent in the past and will do so again in the future, I'm sure, some of the money they raised to buy equipment for fire rescues. It's a good deal for the town. The reason this is on here tonight is to let the select board know that they will be using their funds to purchase this, but that the trailer will be pulled by a town vehicle, and we're gonna put that trailer on the town insurance, and it costs $150 per year. But I think it's a good deal for the town. If you're up at Heritage Day, you could see the layout they have up there. But this allows them to cap all that stuff in one truck, and they can, the goal is to do more fundraising events with that, and I think that's a good thing.
Do we need a motion for
I don't
that, or
think-
just
no,
need a
just-
So
consensus?
it's more of informational.
Just informational,
Okay.
and
Great, no, I think that's, you know, they do a great job, and I know that I've been to 2 events of theirs, been serving food at this year, so
it's good stuff.
it is. All right, moving on to, I think, road naming on page 67, please.
This comes before us from the planning board. It is a name request for a new road. They would like to go with the first choice, which is Rock Mountain Road. And it's off from Bakerstown Road.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the road name application for this road in the name of Rock Mountain Road.
A second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I like the second name better.
John DeSantis,
Yes.
Stan Tetman,
Yes.
Steve
Who's the ice
Robinson.
cream with that name?
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawes.
Yes.
Lisa Alfie.
Yes.
With a vote of 5-0, you approve the road naming application for Rock Mountain Road.
It's close enough.
Rocky.
It is,
Road.
it's
Yeah.
very similar,
I
like,
like that though.
flavor.
Yeah, it
Rocky
is.
Road.
I would like Rocky.
Okay, we have some assessing business to do. The first is the supplemental on page 68, so we need to do a motion just for the supplemental, please.
I make a motion that we do a supplemental, so it's the account number or the map and lot number?
Do account, please.
Account number 3609 in the amount of $563.67. It was because the property was assessed to the wrong owner.
A second.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman,
Yes.
Steve Robinson,
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawes,
Yes.
Lisa Alvey.
Yes.
With a vote of 5-0, you have approved a supplemental to account number 3609 in the amount of $563.67. So for those of you who don't know, a supplemental means that we are sending out a tax bill in that amount to the new owner.
And we have 5 line items on abatements, please, on page 69.
Yeah, these are, when our assessor was working on the ratio, they unclicked the budget, the button that put the town of Poland properties in the tax exempt category. So we need to abate that amount for this one and on the next one as well.
So can I have a motion for the first one, please?
I make a motion that we do an abatement supplemental on account number 3670 in the amount of $572.88.
Can we
Think
just do
can
the total?
All,
You can do them all together.
Okay, so we can do all 5 of the?
yeah, I would
Yep.
list out all 5.
All 5, okay, and account number 2634 in the amount of $13,689.10. Account 2633 in the amount of $819.76. Account 2632 in the amount of $2,224.68. And account number 3609 in the amount of $563.67.
I second that.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for that.
just to clarify that, in the last one, that land was assessed to the wrong owner, so it'll be reassessed to the correct owner.
Yep.
And the first 4 of them were properties that we own that should not have been assessed.
Is it just me, or does it seem like that was caught kind of late in the game, because this happened with an RSU 16 property as well?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, no, I was
So-
just gonna say, we only find out about this when liens go out. There's no report that's generated from the system, so, Nikki is watching these things, as she processes all the liens and goes, wait a minute.
So we had a lien against ourselves?
we were gonna put 4 liens against ourselves,
That'd be an interesting take to court. Okay.
so.
Take yourself to court. Couldn't sell anything.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman,
Yes.
Steve Robinson,
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawes.
Yes.
Lisa Alvey.
Yes.
With a vote 5-0, you have approved the abatements for tax year 23 as presented. And the next one is for tax year 24.
So I'd make a motion to approve the abatements for account number 3670 in the amount of $694.26. Account number 2634 in the amount of $16,589.51. Account number 2633 in the amount of $993.45. Account number 2632 in the amount of $2,696.04. And account 3151 in the amount of $33.89. And account number 2951 in the amount of $351.26.
And I second that.
Thank you.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
With a vote of 5-0, you have approved the abatements as presented for tax year '24.
Are we still within our budget for abatements? We're over.
We're over by 20,000. But we'll manage.
Hopefully those excise taxes will keep coming in.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, move on to payables. I make a motion that we pay our bills for the fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $701,523.14.
Second.
We'll give it to John.
That goes to.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
I just have a question. So fiscal year 2025, we're still in 2024.
Fiscal year '25 started 7/1/2024.
July
It goes to 6/30.
1st to June 30th.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You're
I should
welcome.
remember that.
No
Okay.
problem.
It's been a while.
Any other questions?
No.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
With a vote of 5-0, you have approved the payables in the amount of $701,523.14.
And with that, we can move on to any other business. John?
Oh, good.
Thank you. Two things. One, we're starting our property reevaluation process. It'll be going over the next year and a half, 2 years, something like that. And if anybody's got any questions about it, in today's Sun Journal, there was a really good article that talks about reevaluations, because a lot of communities are starting to do that. So if they look that up in the paper today, they can find that information. And then, Matt, I'm wondering if, whether you, Adam, can get in touch with the Department of Transportation. On McGuire Hill Road, evidently this last storm blew down a lot of branches. And there are a couple of piles of branches between when you come off Herrick Valley and you turn right on McGuire Hill from Fernwood up to about Bunting Lane on the left-hand side of the road. There are some piles of branches there, as we're getting, unfortunately, into winter and maybe some snow, that they could be a problem. I don't know if they can remove those things.
I can call them, but when I call them, I call the Scarborough number and report that to them. It's,
And give you the local number.
well, that's not how they work.
Oh,
If you want them to, and they'll respond to it, but,
okay.
so it's McGuire
They
Hill.
build the town.
Just, I think it is, right now, it's kind of a problem if you have to pull over a little bit, if some big car is coming or something, or somebody's crossing the central line. And like I say, I think it could be a problem when we go to plow. So, okay, just thought I'd suggest it.
The only thing I had was, and I'll just raise it here, I was gonna try to ask Adam or whatever. So I assume that all of our paving for the year is completed?
Yeah, we're not, we might do a little more, but I kind of doubt it. Adam and I haven't had a chance to talk about what's remaining. The asphalt plant is still open, but whether the paving contractor's gonna be coming by here again is another story. So I think the answer is we are done, but I'll talk to Adam.
So just as a follow-up of that is that, and usually once we get all done with it, then we have the painting come in and line the roads that are normally lined?
Yep, they are, that's being done now. We've got, on Lewiston Junction, Torrey and Dunn.
Okay.
We've got a guy that's gonna come and do that fairly soon.
Yeah, I just wanted to make note of it before we get into the winter time, and then that becomes a timing problem and whatever. I know that you're always on top of it, but if nothing
Oh,
else,
yeah.
it's just, if nothing else, it's just communication to everybody, because
Mhm.
certainly the Lewiston Junction thing, when it was rainy and foggy, was,
Yeah, it's hard to
I
see.
made much more noticed, especially with the new pavement.
Yeah,
The black of the new pavement, it didn't, was,
yeah, but Adam's on that. We've got someone that's gonna come in and line those fairly soon, maybe this coming week. I forget that he told me when they were coming, but I can't remember off the top of my
yeah, I
head.
guess it's gonna warm up a little bit as the week goes along,
Yeah.
maybe.
Next week.
That's all I have.
So a question did come up, and maybe you can point me in the right direction, we can
Mhm.
have a conversation. How do we go about slowing traffic, if the town wants to slow traffic down a little bit on 26 in the downtown area? I don't know if that's come up
Yeah.
to you directly. I've heard some people saying, especially on the CEDC, right, because they want like people to kind of slow down and stop at businesses. And then that, that section between the log yard, ice cream place, is that Triplic Road? I'm not sure,
Oh, Corner Road or White Oak Hill?
It's
the one that's White Oak Hill maybe?
That's White Oak Hill, it's almost
Yeah.
opposite.
But it's right next to where the Poland Animal Hospital, that
Yeah,
road,
that area.
it kind of turns and then there's a hill and, I mean, I guess it's kind of treacherous and people have had some concerns with that. I don't know if there's been a lot of accidents, but like putting in a light or even a blinking yellow light or
Oh, there is
something.
a blinking light up there.
There is, but like changing the speed limit or something to kind of slow traffic down.
Well, the speed limit's 35 through there right now. I
Yeah.
don't think they're gonna lower it any more than that. And I don't know what other traffic calming measures, because I just don't know.
It is really bad, but it's because people are choosing to speed. And, how do
Right.
you, yeah. I know that when I drove through downtown and through this stretch, and I go 35 miles an hour, people come up on my tail so fast. And it's like they're trying to push me to go faster, so, yeah.
Yeah, my answer was like, I know it took a long time just to get the light put in down by that 121 section. So, I mean, is this a main DOT call, or is it a town? Do we have
It's
something
main
to say?
DOT, because 26 is a state road and
Right,
White Oak Hill is a state aid road. They have, we worked pretty hard to get that light in at 26 and 121. And the criteria they use are number of accidents. That's one metric they use. And it definitely met that down there. I don't know that we meet the accident threshold at that area. And I just don't know that there would be that they would put a light in. I don't know. I don't.
that's something like, that we can drive, like the town itself, like the residents, is there something that, if there is a demand, I guess, to do something and slow the traffic down, or what measures or process, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know that, I'll talk to the traffic engineer and ask him if he has any ideas, but,
One thought that comes to my personal mind is that I think has helped in some other communities, and when I drive through, and you go to communities kind of similar to ours as far as, here's a main drag that's going through the center of town, and that really is just that center of town. I'm noticing more and more now, just like the four-way stop that we did up on Harris Hill and Poland Corner Road, you've got flashing lights on the signs telling you a reduced speed, and then what's the reduced speed, and kind of highlighting that speed is 35, which I think changes just before the RSU building is where I think it changes to 35 or whatever. But I'm just wondering, okay, maybe we can just try to highlight that more stringently. And then obviously, I know that the sheriff's department is there and has their car kind of parked by the side of the road sometimes, even when they're not in the car. But, you know, I think that's,
Yeah.
maybe that's something that brings it to greater people's attention, especially early on in those phases and up to the White Oak Hill Road. You know, when it gets up to the school and the lights are flashing, or, you know, I know that go up by the high school, it really is 35 miles an hour, and it says, you know, go slow, you know, and when this is flashing, when the school's actually releasing. But the reality is it's also flashing what your speed is. So that might be another aspect of, that we'd have something to actually show what is your actual speed, you know, shortly after the 35, saying, you know, this is a 35 and you're doing 55, you know, and flash you that you're doing 55 or something. Just thoughts that I have.
Yeah, just, well, I mean, it's unfortunate, like Poland Provisions is in that section where there is no turning lane. And so just, you know, I'm finding just my normal commute, it's a lot more congested than it used to be, just traffic coming in and out. And people coming up over that hill, coming from, you know, beyond the bus garage,
Mhm.
right? They're coming in so fast. That there's stopped cars and they're not always slowing down. You can't really see over that hill until you're right there, and it's a curve. So I'm just, that's what I'm hearing, and then, you know, when you've got election going on and things happening at the town hall and Christmas in Poland is, you know.
Christmas in Poland does other measures to mitigate that. They have signs, lighted signs out there. Who are you hearing this from?
With CEDC, and mostly, just the folks from CEDC. And just my own personal observations.
And just as a point of information, to change a speed limit, we changed quite a few years ago, we put in the request to change the speed limit on Swampgowan Road. And we can't do that as a town, even though it's a town road. It needs state permission. So we had to get letters out to them and get their authorization. And, you know, they eventually did, I don't know what the speed limit is, 15 to 20 miles an hour. But it took, 6 months, 8 months to try to get the state to allow us to do that. So we can't even change it on our own roads.
Like you're noting, really the issue is people aren't adhering to the 35, right?
That's exactly what it is, yep.
I just, like I said, maybe we can do more to advertise it. And maybe have something that says you're going this speed.
Well, I mean,
And
when
flashes
people
you too
are-
fast, just like you.
When you have people stopped and it's 35, though, I mean, that's still kind of fast for what's happening with the traffic, because there's no turning lane in that section.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, then you'll have issues with the people not stopping either. I've seen people go right through that stop sign too, so unless you have a situation like 122 and 26 where I live off Carpenter Road, where there's probably been 18 years, probably 20 accidents and 7 fatalities, probably.
Anyway, thought I'd ask, sorry.
No.
No, that's okay.
I like the flashing sign ahead, like when you come around where the Lions Club area is right there, there's a sign right there. That could be a visual right there, to get people to start slowing, yeah, exactly, because that's when you need to really start slowing down right there. And you find, I think what happens, and I've done it too, you find yourself speeding along, and you realize, by the time you realize, like, oops, you start slowing down by the buses. So, I think it's just awareness, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, if people could slow down by the buses, like by the bus yard, that would be helpful, but they're not. You know, they're blowing through that, blowing by log yard and coming around that corner pretty fast.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yep, I'm all set.
Lisa? No? Matt?
No thanks.
To just one other thing, remind people with the vote Election day is November 5th. Well, I thought you said you didn't have anything.
Put on the calendar.
Reminder that absentee ballots are available. Your best bet is to come in person to request them. You can either vote here right then and there and hand them back in right then and there, or you can take them home. If you take them home, we ask that you return them either to the drop box out front that we will check and make sure it is not full when we leave here, or you can bring them back inside to the ladies inside to hand them in personally. Right now, we have about 800, as they said, out. About half of those have been returned, so if you're sitting on your ballot, as the girls say, please return your ballot as sooner the better, so we can get it back in the system and know that your ballot's all set to be counted.
Yeah, so voting day will be Tuesday, November 5th, 8 to 8 in our town hall. And then, as noted earlier, that we will not be holding our select board meeting on November 5th. So our next select board meeting will be November 19th. And with that, I guess we can adjourn. Take a motion.
So moved.
Here, a second?
Second?
Thank you.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Albee.
Yes.
With a vote 5-0, you have adjourned the meeting, everyone. Have a great evening.
Good night.
Good night.